So he's up
Sorry to
there
hear
in the,
that.
in the
Okay.
hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:30, July the 1st. I'd like to open the Board of Architects review meeting. First of all, like to our chair is away, so I'm the acting chair this evening. So I'd like to get your votes, if that is fine, your approval,
Yes.
and like to call a motion for the meeting to be opened. We don't normally do this, but I thought maybe
Second.
that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So the first applicant, Mr. Hargroves, if you'd like to come up and show us your window.
So I don't know, this is.
Oh, you don't have to pick it up, but
Quick, but thanks for having me. I understand from the previous meeting, the issue at hand was the imperfections on the prior sample. We have changed to a Marvin double hung window, which I think addresses some of the key concerns from last time. The window itself is meaningfully better than all the what you might call newer windows in our house. Gets great reviews with the aesthetics of the house, and hopefully it solves some of the issues that you had prior meeting. I don't have many. That's really it.
well, the main issue that we did have, because you have such a beautiful historic house and with some of the most beautiful windows up above, that adding new windows, well, one has to be very careful so that they don't jar and scream, we're new and we're old. And normally with windows, we do encourage wooden windows. So in this case, this is an improvement of the last one, but it's still I can say aluminium to you, aluminium clad, and then is sort of vinyl on the back. The muntins are sort of superficial, and you can see through. You can see that they're sort of fake muntins, and so my personal opinion is that we could do better. I would much prefer, wooden windows with wooden muntins, and to match the others in your house. I understand the maintenance issue, that there are new materials now which are much more maintenance friendly, but I feel personally it would jar with the other windows you have in the house. With this addition, it is such a beautiful house. I don't think you were here when your architect was here, that the windows, that bank of windows, I'm going to miss sorely. I'm sure you won't, because I'm sure they're all falling apart because they're rotten. But that bank of open windows looks amazing, and it's such a lovely idiosyncratic element to the architecture of the park. So, obviously replacing that's fine. We were approving that, but we have to really be top notch with the windows that you are going to put in, so it doesn't look like a new building.
So on the other, the current windows, these are essentially fabricated from sliding doors. You can see the rails beneath. Obviously single pane, warped glass, thousands of that wouldn't be feasible to actually to recreate that. And the room itself was never designed to be a proper room, hence it was manufactured out of doors being put together. As far as this window versus the new windows in the house, I granted we have Palladian windows that are old and we're not touching those, and those are beautiful, but these are substantially better than the current windows that we have that are, let's say, 20 years old. I can show you pictures. So I think they're already an improvement versus the stuff that has been replaced in the past, and there's precedent there. Of course, I can also show you examples of what we're trying to solve for, which is rot. And you mentioned earlier, not being able to ascertain where water's coming into the house. I had that problem 2 days ago when it was raining, and I was like, where is this rainfall coming from? And it's directly pouring into the current room. And we don't want to go down that rabbit hole again of having to deal with rot. I can show you plenty of movies here on that side. So I think it's, this is where technology is going. I don't think that we want to pursue the wooden route. We've been to that movie already. So I'm advocating for going with the newer brand of window, where that's actually, frankly, there's there's much better supply out there, and we're trying to solve for something else.
What do my colleagues opine on this issue?
I think there's definitely been a hardship, right, with the rot of the existing doors and windows. And, we, in certain cases, especially when there is a hardship, that we would approve an alternative material that is more resilient, like this aluminum cladding. I do think it's an improvement from the Munton's perspective that we mentioned in the first place, but and so I think we're certainly going in the right direction. So I think that we're moving in a positive place.
Well, certainly, I agree with the right direction. Were you able to the option of wood, like a historical preservation type, and doing an all wood window? Did you get quotes on that, or did you not? Did your architect?
So our preference is to avoid this, and obviously, we are trying to improve the state of the home. We don't want to make it look like an eyesore. That you don't go down this, this capex project, to make something not look good. But I will say that, these are some of the newer windows that we have around the kitchen. This is a much inferior quality. Again, not trying to replace beautiful or Palladian windows. That is something I'm not touching. We're going to restore those in a different capacity. But this is meaningfully better quality. That's what's already currently in the house, and obviously passed the bar the first time when they did the original restoration of the kitchen. So I don't think that this would be actually degrading from what we currently have. It's an improvement from many of the windows that have already been replaced. This picture that resonates.
Stephanie, what?
Well, the guy. I mean, the thing is, wood doesn't have to rot. It's not. Our windows are nearly 100 years old, and they have not even been well maintained. But with some maintenance, every 10 years or so, they can be saved. And I think your house is so beautiful, and you're putting so much effort in it. You're putting all this beautiful wood back, and I think you would really do the house a favor if you went with the wooden example. We tried to explain to your architect, Mr. Hudson. Mr. Hudson.
Good.
Oh, okay, sorry. We've really tried to explain that those are the guidelines, and especially a historic home like yours, it really would deserve these more beautiful windows, I think. To have wooden old windows combined with aluminum, I think is.
We already have.
Right.
So they're not all wood. That's the window that I just showed you.
That's the thing in the park. There's a lot of things that slip through somehow in previous years, which shouldn't have, and certainly we wouldn't approve of that now. So it's we're trying to reach as high a standard as possible. So that's where if we could do one more round, to get to one extra level with maybe a compromise with where there is a significant amount of wood and maybe a newer material, but that it reads wood and it from the outside. That would be, I think we'd all be happy with that. But I just, even on the inside, that's not so much our concern, but the inside with the vinyl doesn't look so good. I understand the maintenance aspect, but as Stephanie said, good wooden window should last. The other aspect was the siding, so the siding samples. Do we have those?
I have them next to the window.
So this is an improvement of the last siding was just like planks of wood. So this is a marked improvement with the wedge shape. They seem very thin though. Is that the thinness of the current ones? Because if that is, then this would be fine. Or
So I'm going to just go back to the window.
Okay.
We will endeavor to see if we can find a, improvement, but I don't think that we want to go down the route of 20 years from now, 10 years from now, having to deal with this again. This is, a forever home. We want to make it that, and I don't want to deal with rot. We're solving rot in the house with today's best technology. We can look into seeing if there is an improvement here, but that is something that, it's not a restoration home, it's a living home. And there is a budget and there's CapEx to do, and so I would like to, to push back on that going the wood route, we do not want to make the house look poorly, but I think this is a marked improvement from what it already is. You just have to come over and see what we currently have, and anything's an improvement on that side. On the siding, so these I think feel pretty similar to what the current siding is. Our intention is to match the wood, to match the color, make no changes. That will be wood, and there's whatever the closest thing that we can get to that. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel there. These do look substantially similar to what we currently have. I'm not a siding expert. We haven't ripped the siding off the house yet to match it, but they aren't particularly thick on the current siding. But the plan is just to make it look identical everywhere. HDC's color, size is going to match the rest of the house. That's the whole point there. So there will be no changes on that side. That will be wood.
Right, and that's important, whether it's that one or whether it is a thicker one that we would want you to do, as you said, exactly the same. So
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, so exactly, yeah. So if that's what we'd like, if you can try one step nearer, one more compromise with, I know there are windows out there that do have that more proportion of wood that I think and are still very good maintenance free, and then I think then we'd be happy. I'm sorry, to be so difficult on this, but it's just windows are such an important part, and we really would, and I understand the budgets and all of that. It's and the maintenance issues, but it's something that we just want to while you're addressing it, to get it right and aesthetically beautiful, as well as as much maintenance free as possible. So we're almost there.
So you're saying that there are no windows like this in the park?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Our own house has it.
That's what I'm saying. We're trying to keep the standard up. There's a lot of things that have gone on in the park that we're not happy with, that we wish didn't happen. So we're not going to lower our standards because there were lower standards before. We want to, it's such a special place to live, and especially when there's a house that's so special like yours. I mean, there's lots of beautiful houses, but yours is particularly beautiful and visible. I mean, from all round. So it's a higher responsibility that you have with your house than a house that's sort of tucked away and not so visible. Each house is different, but because of the visibility of yours, I think we could just do a little bit, push a little bit more, and then we would get there. Yeah.
So we're also trying to make the house more invisible, which is part of the other project. And that was the issue last time when we were talking about going down Continental, making sure you don't see anything. So I don't know if that argument jives, if the whole point was you didn't want to see one thing, but now you do want to see the windows.
No, that's not what we're not saying. We want people can do things as long as they're hidden, they can do it. We're just saying it's theoretically, historically it's an important house, and so we want it to remain that way. As anything that's done to it is respectful to the house, to what it is. So we can certainly vote, but if you like, we could wait to vote for the whole thing when the next window comes in, or we could vote on this. We could vote on the siding now, if that helps.
We want to get going. This has been many meetings on a window. We're missing windows to get going. So I'd like to know what the vote is. You know, that's our plan. We're moving forward. So I don't know if you, if you need unanimous board consent or how it works, with two members gone. They've already, are they going to watch this and then put in their votes? Is it super majority?
It has to be a vote of at least 3. So in this circumstance, all of us would have to be unanimous. The 3 present would have to be unanimous about the decision to vote on it.
To keep things moving in a positive direction, we should vote on what we can, but also we should give some, like, I think that's a much cleaner sample than last time. It's a very traditional window, like from a stylistic perspective. If you want them to present another sample, I think to kind of give them a path that you're looking towards rather than just kind of.
Well, it's crystal clear that the style is 100% appropriate. It's just the materials.
We said that very clearly, yes, last time. Everyone agreed on it. The whole board.
Wood is the preference.
I thought that the imperfection between.
That was the meeting before that.
Exactly. Okay, so what is the direction? Can you share windows that you like if we're going to go that route?
Led with already sent examples to you.
I gave your architect one manufacturer that's been used in the past. I can't attest to its quality, but there is another manufacturer that we've allowed. It is a full wood window, and I gave them a sheet when they dropped off the sample.
It's exactly that. I mean, it's the ideally proper muntins, not false ones, and wood. That's the direction. Everything else is perfect. So as I say, I don't think you'll get the approval. We can certainly vote on it, but I don't think you'll get the approval on the window today. But I think we can approve the siding if that helps. I'm not sure. Probably the windows have to go in before the siding. So.
That's the long lead item. So we're not going to kick the can for another month. That takes, we're having meetings on this.
What if there are other samples that we can look at, separately as the materials come? John Ledwith can leave them out for us, so we can keep the process moving.
Well, I think we have to vote on it at a quorum at a meeting. So it would be the next meeting, which would be July in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. That would be if you were able to get the wood sample, and so that before the meeting, so we can look at it, and then certainly if the sample if we think it's not going in the right direction, that could be voiced maybe right then, but I'm sure the next step up.
So to be clear, are you saying that no aluminium clad window will be approved? Because my understanding was that was solved, was the imperfection. So does it have to be wood?
No, it was we were clear. Wood is the preference. Is always the design guidelines.
Only wood windows in the park from here on out.
No, it can be a compromise, but there has to be some wood, and with the aluminium and the vinyl, it's on a historic home. Each it's very difficult saying, well, it happened here and it happened there. Why can't it happen with me? Each one is very different each scenario, and your scenario with your beautiful house is that we want it to be respected as much as possible. Obviously, the sky isn't the limit, but we want just one more notch up, and we're there, with a wood.
So if other places can do it, you're saying that their house isn't as beautiful?
No. We're just focusing on your house and what is appropriate for your house. The other houses, we're not addressing at this meeting. We're focusing on what is best. We care about your house and what's best for your house, in our opinion. So that's what we want to do. So it's the best possible scenario within all the other constraints.
So and to be clear, can you point out which part is aggravating you? Because I'm not a window expert.
No, it's the wood, that it's not wood. It looks, it looks, brand new. It doesn't look like wood. It jars with, with the beautiful Palladian windows you have already. And so wood is the thing that is we want wood windows in the park. And so whenever there's a window replacement, project comes up, we prefer that they're replaced with wood, unless there's some, as I say, each scenario is different. So there's some other mitigating circumstances that could influence it. But it's the appeal, the 4/4, all that, the divided windows is exactly the way we want to go. This, the sash windows, but the wood aspect, not the aluminum.
Even though it matches what's currently in the house.
It's just the material, the design guidelines, we want wood windows. It's historic, and the historic register. So, that means that it doesn't mean we have to go back in history with things. It means anything that is constructed or done, is respectful of that, and so respectful of, the building that it's in. So your building would have had wood windows. So when they're replaced, we'd like to replace them with wood. If you had a brand new construction, it would be a different story. That's where there would be consistency with other materials, but with yours, it'd be. And there are I don't think the budget wise it's very, I don't think it's significantly increasing the price, but that's where we are. The wood. It's all about the material.
That's a preference, or that's a mandate?
Well, we'll vote on it, so we can vote on it now. Say I wouldn't be happy with this. I would vote no on this window. I don't like this window. But I would be very happy, that a window is. I was hoping that, I thought we made it clear to the architect that wood was the preference, and that. So when I saw this sample, I was very disappointed that maybe we failed in getting that message across to him, that it's wood is what we wanted. So as I say, we could approve the siding, if that helps, or we can wait till hopefully next week.
Let's pick that one.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you vote on this? So you said it has to be 3 votes?
So yeah,
We don't have to vote.
well, if you want us to vote on the siding, we can vote and approve that.
Because the plans we approved, it was just the materials.
Exactly. It's
that we
just,
have pending.
it's basically the window and the sidings, the two issues that weren't approved. So, as I say, the windows are still an issue. The siding isn't. I don't believe the siding is an issue. So we could vote on that now. So the siding's done. So it's just the window. Or, time is of the essence. If you can get the sample in 2 weeks' time, and then we can just vote on, the whole thing and approve it in 2 weeks' time.
John, can you send me windows that have been pre-approved?
It's just one manufacturer that was used, by another person, and I think it's a more practical price. I can't attest to the quality. But I did give that sheet to your architect, and I can send it to you tomorrow.
Do you want the siding thing, or do you want to wait?
Sure, approve the siding.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion for the Hargroves House at 44 Clubhouse Road, parcel 107-1-23, for the replacement siding, not as the sample that was provided, but to exactly match the current siding on the house of with the wedge shape and the exact thickness, and same proportions and color. Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor? So approved. So you have the sidings approved, and so hopefully in 2 weeks' time we'll be able to approve the windows. Move forward. Sorry about the Applicant number 2, Amanda Tice. Tice, sorry. Well, welcome to the park.
Happy to be here.
Oh, it's a wonderful place.
It is a beautiful place, that's why I'm here.
Excellent. And you bought a special, a special little house.
I did. I've been learning a little bit about the history of the house, and I understand it's been a contentious property in the park for quite some time now.
Well, it's in the park. That's typical of the park. It's
Okay.
woo-hoo, good, bad, and ugly. It's always
So, my intentions were not to do construction on the house. Unfortunately, there was some significant water damage to the house and a significant, almost all the wood in this section of the house had to be replaced because it was rusting on the pipes. So during the rebuild, I had put in a skylight and I have since been informed that that was a no-no. And so I'm asking for approval for the skylight that was put in and also for approval to enlarge a window in the front of the house.
Well, let's talk about window first.
Okay.
I think the window is an improvement on what is currently there. And what type of window will you be putting in as you?
The other windows are replaced. I put in wood
Uh-huh.
windows, and so because it would be a rusty side window, I just another the picture window. So I don't want any bars in it. I want it to just be a big picture window.
Oh, you don't want any muttons.
Yes.
Noted. So
Oh, sorry, that is, if that's what gets approved, I'd be happy to have that. My contractor submitted this on my behalf, but I would prefer for it to be an open.
yeah, I think I would have a problem with a big picture window.
Okay.
Historically. So the muntins is what we prefer. So
I just been looking for more light because it's very dark. Very dark. So, that's why I put in both the other window and my window.
Yeah.
So what so yes, what I think with the so as far as the windows, is the next step is to get us those exact specifications of showing the materials, the wood, and I mean if it's obvious in the specs and the company that it's a wood window with the muntins and everything. I don't know whether we need a sample if it's a Pella.
Just a cut sheet of the manufacturer indicating that it's wood exterior and the trim will be painted to match, I
Yes.
assume.
To match the.
Yeah, so we just need that.
Is that something that I could just send you, or is that something I need to bring to another meeting?
I think what we can do is we could vote on this one to approve in principle that size, but then then we need to have these actual specs so that we can approve it. So that's the window. Any other comments on the window?
No, I'm okay with it. So it's, maybe, should we share the name of that same wood window manufacturer or?
You've already got one, right? The Pella,
Yes, when I replaced the other windows that needed replaced,
right? Use those. So
That's good.
okay.
I'm trying to get plastic out of my life.
Yes, we appreciate that.
I'm throwing away a lot of plastic and aluminum. Very far, like every day, on the window.
Yes.
So yes, so if you get specs, I think if you're able to come to the next meeting in 2 weeks' time with that, then that way we can formally approve
Yeah.
and make sure, because there is a letter which would enter into the record about one of the neighbours not being happy about it, but a lot of the issues are irrelevant to the Board of Architectural Review. They're not appropriate for us to comment on. It's just the window, and as I say, aesthetically, I think it's an improvement. So I think we all agree on that. Yes, the proportions. Yeah, so it's and in wood, we would say that would be delightful. Any comments from the room or the Zoom?
Yeah, I just would like Amanda, if she can speak into the microphone when she speaks, so we can all hear her properly on Zoom.
If you'd like to come and sit here, then Desiree takes the minutes.
Okay.
So Did you get the gist of it? Do you want us to repeat anything, Desiree?
No, I think I did get the gist of it
Okay,
currently, but as we go forward with the skylights, at least I can hear better.
great. So with that, let's move on to the skylight. So you have two counts against you with the skylight. Unfortunately, we do not like skylights in Tuxedo Park, and we like to get approval before work is done. We have this isn't the first time we've done this. There've been applicants in the past that have done the same thing, and what we have told them is they have to remove this, put the skylight, the roof back, and remove the skylight. You could, but I doubt if, and unless there's some, incredible circumstance that, hardship issue that I'd be very doubtful that.
Is it relevant that it's on the back slant of the house and not viewable?
I mean, it's basically it's the principle, because what's viewable and what's not. I mean, I could see it, going down the 100 steps, and it's visible. I'm not sure. I didn't go on Stable Road to see it was visible from that property there. That's for sale, or anywhere else. But it's generally, I mean, it's not an historic structure itself. It's a charming cottage. I
And
mean,
that part of the house, my understanding when the contractor was working on the rot issues is that that part of the house was originally built in the 60s, torn down and rebuilt again in 2010.
mhm.
It feels that for a 2010 structure that a skylight could be appropriate.
Yeah, it's I mean, what was the issue? Lack of light? Is that?
Yes, it's very dark inside.
There is a window though, is the
There-
bathroom.
Yes, there is.
So possibly, maybe there's another route you could take of enlarging that window, or.
That is possible. I did just invest heavily in in replacing, being mindful to keep, things the same. But the other thing, because that part of the house was newer, the way, because I also had to re-roof because of damages, I had have it re-roofed as well. And it was kind of put together in a very unusual way that hinted at previous windows being there. And so that's in part why I thought it would be okay to put the window there.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunately, it's the style of the house is so charming and everything, even though it is
It's
new,
delightful, yeah.
it's we want to carry on with that, and skylights are just are not in our vocabulary. So, so I mean that I can't, any comments or ideas or suggestions, so as an alternative.
I'm a classically trained painter, so I spend a lot of time with light, and I'm wondering if a dormer situation, where the roof is just raised slightly and then the window is on the side, if that would be approvable by this board.
Oh, certainly, that would be, more in the vocabulary of, normal architecture.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Might actually be better light. from
Right.
that.
So then the question is, it would take some time to get that. I assume I need to get a dormer approved through the board.
Yes.
What's the timeline for removing one window? Because it would be nice if I could do both of those things at the same time if it was going to be approved by the board.
I mean, I don't, and if you, with your cooperation and that you say absolutely you're going to remove it and replace it, and pending the approval of the Board of Architecture review of the new dormer window, I wouldn't have a problem of that, but I'm not the building inspector.
Well, I think if the bar is in agreement with what you're replacing, building permits are typically good for 18 months.
Okay,
So that would give you time to stage things
okay.
at an appropriate time so labor can be possibly saved.
Right, I'm not sure what's involved with the dormer, and structurally, if that's a possibility, it would take a little
Good idea.
research.
Really like it. I don't have a problem waiting.
Yeah, no, I think we don't want to get.
I would just be really happy to have the light, so. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So that's so what we can do, we can approve. No, well, let's wait. Bring the sample in of the specs in of the window, and then
Okay.
and then also you know, if you have you don't have to have the final plan of the dormer window, but if you bring in some sketch or something like that, so we're going on the right tangent, we don't want you to go down a tangent and have to pull back.
Understood,
Yeah,
understood.
so we want, you know, we want to work with you. I mean, this is always the great thing that, you know, to come in right at the beginning and then we can tell you.
Yes, yes.
But this is such a super good idea now with the
Yeah.
dormer sets. You know, it's gonna end up just even better now, I think. It's
It'll be-
great creative thing.
Well, I believe in beauty and I appreciate the board's commitment to beauty, so let's figure it out.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
And yes, come on up. Well, and again, welcome to the park. It's nice you met some other, another new resident.
Exactly. And she's an artist as well.
Uh-huh. Well, we love that. Ah, so you, so,
Yes.
Wow,
I
So I'm the one who
as well.
submitted it. I'm Jeff.
that's
You're-
amazing.
and Tim, you work,
I'm the director of the Museum of Arts and Design.
that's right.
Oh.
But I also paint.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's fantastic. So, so you, let's address the,
I love this house.
I totally love
I
it.
love
this house so
oh, we
much.
all do. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's dreamy.
I love it.
Oh, it's adorable, yeah.
So
So
amazing.
chic.
Does
It
anybody
is.
actually know the definitive history of this house though? Because we've gone to the library and the Historical Society, we look at the maps and
So, I mean, originally, there was a lot called Tanglewood.
yes.
And it was Mitchell. And Mitchell had, I think he owned it with his mother, and he used to dye his hair. You've read all this, do you know? Oh, well, I'll send it to you. Yeah. So he owned that, and I'll send you a picture of the skyline. He had a big old Victorian house. There was a big property there. You can see it on the skyline because it's not the water tower next door, the Kuwait property is certainly not, and it's not Mrs. Gebhardt's house, Tuckerman 2. So there was a big house there. It lasted a nanosecond, and then the McCaggs had the estate, and so including the house next door, and then Marshall Kernigan had it. So he was an artist, and so it was like a potting shed was built for an artist. So I think it was more of a studio. Yeah. So so maybe it was a potting shed because the bar would approve potting sheds in those days, not artist studio. Who knows? But I don't know whether it was a potting shed or so that was there, and then and then I think because as you know, the property was connected to the your neighbours below where the greenhouse is.
Yes, we figured that out on the map.
Yeah, and there's steps going down and paths all over, and then it was divided up into into lots, and then so this was its own thing. But as you see, it's been on the map for a long
I'm
time.
surprised to see it so early, and it had
Yeah.
looked like a big chunk.
Yes, exactly. The bigger footprint than
This
this.
is what it is now. It's just confusing.
Yeah.
But and the formal gardens sort of lend to that. That
I know,
so,
it's so
it's
beautiful,
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
courtyard, yeah.
Yeah, the stonework, which I was working on today, taking out trees.
Oh yeah, so it's been neglected.
The house has been neglected.
But
Yes.
it's but you've made some enemies already because
Excellent.
because people love this house. They're jealous. They're jealous that you have it.
Me too.
You're in
I
line.
love.
We
Have
did
you
look
been
at
in
it for a
it?
year and a half.
You been
We
in it?
took
Oh, you
our
have?
time. Yeah, we took our
Ah.
time. I work with Brian.
Surreptitiously.
Right, yes.
Well, no, I went with Christopher.
Oh, so are you the one who did who vandalized? Did you tag it? I have
Tag.
seen.
Tag.
It's
What does
actually
that
Because,
mean?
you know, they say it's so
What?
secure and so, you know. it's,
No,
you know-
no, we just went there as an official visit.
No, it's tagged. The foyer's tagged, the kitchen's tagged, the
How do you mean
garages are
tagged?
tagged.
What is that?
Spray paint.
What?
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 Yeah.
Someone went in and
Graffiti?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then the bank came
Yeah.
back and painted and
And the
whitewashed it.
bank, did
When we-
put a layer of white on it.
Oh, okay, not today. Oh,
Oh,
oh.
who knows? But so we gave Tinka a hard time, like, oh yeah, really safe community.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
really-
Oh, no.
Oh my
Worried about
gosh.
gangs and tuxedo parties.
Right, it's not, that's not nice. We live in New York, so you know, this is how we
Right.
think.
Exactly.
Well, there's-
No, it's fine.
yeah, well, it's
We're the ones.
that's very that is. I mean,
Everybody's jealous.
I've only been here 12 years, so but that's like, wow, I mean, you know,
Yeah, we were a little surprised.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean,
I think it was just junk kids.
well, I think it's generally, yeah, it's
They neat graffiti as graffiti goes.
Hmm.
They stayed in the
Yeah.
borders.
Ah.
Well, I had graffiti inside Shasta also.
Really, yeah.
On the chimney piece. Oh,
Oh, interesting.
but anyway,
So proposal
talk about paint.
change house color.
Sorry, it's so hard to read
So
my writing.
so here's my very personal take on this, and that I find it the most delicious raspberry sorbet color. And let's bring Bryna in. Not so she said, I'm not quoting on her behalf, but it's like a what do you call a fancy diamond, a fancy pink diamond color. It is normally if it was the swallow color, the sparrow color that you're proposing, and you wanted to paint it pink, any other house in the park would probably say no way. This is the only one I think I would say absolutely. Have you heard of the architect William Clough Ellis? He's a Welsh architect in Wales, and he built this whole Italian community on the, and it was filled with things like this. Port Merion, it's called. You'll love it if you go and visit it. And this is part of the charm of it. This color is so is just so amazing. I even spoke to I don't know whether you've met him yet. Is a neighbor of yours, Christopher Boshiers. He has the modernist house below. He used to be based in Hollywood, and I can't say who his clients were because it's confidential, but there were major, Hollywood people. And he, of all the people I've met in my life, he has the best color sense I've ever met. And I mentioned this to him, and he said, "It's just magical as is." So, I'm interested. What is the reason for changing this?
So,
Would you like to?
and I don't know if these things are related, because the timing of this house is really complicated. There was obviously additions that were put on kind of in the 70s from what we can tell. And that's all the back additions. And when we started to look at the trim color, at one time, believe it or not, it was turquoise. And so this was a 50s kind of house, turquoise and pink. And it really kind of made us think about, is that pink really as old as one might think? Or was this something that was more of kind of a 50s fantasy moment? I don't know.
I have a strong opinion on this house because it's not the color that it's that we're necessarily saving. It's the finish that is extremely wonderful and rare and difficult. And I think it wasn't possibly not done after the 40s. Did you notice it has mica in it?
Yes.
And if you paint that, you're going to lose that. And it's so very special. It makes the house move with the weather. So on Chastellux, you sometimes see it completely pink, and other times it goes white. If you look closely, you see all this broken glass in the color.
Yeah.
And although I love that sparrow color, I think it's so chic, but you would completely lose that effect. So I need to restore our building, and I am almost forced to put something on it, and I won't. I'm finding a way, I'm trying really hard to find a way to preserve that incredibly unusual sparkle. I saw it in 60 East 93rd, Vanderbilt building by John Russell Pope on the inside. Super cool. And then Chastellux on the outside, and you have it. It's rare and very, very special. And it's supposed to look like fresh plaster, fresh Venetian plaster. So you're calling it a raspberry, but to me, it's really an fabulous architectural color. If you put fresh plaster on a wall, that's what it is before it dries. And
I will say you're making us love it a little bit more.
You guys your enthusiasm.
Yeah, your enthusiasm is infective.
Just maybe you could, if you could work on the columns and find something to make it just slightly less contrasting, to find a more sensitive white, would be a whole fabulous effect.
We are a little concerned in that the stucco is going to need repair in the old part of the house. The 70s part of the house, it really needs repairs. If you go and look at that, that's going to be, more
That's
of
the
age.
back part.
Yeah.
The back part. The back
It's the
part is
coverlot
where the
part is-
problems are with this house.
Well, I should say the cover lot, the front part, it looks in pretty good condition, yeah.
The front
Well,
part's pretty
What
good.
I will say though, not to count actually, except being in Santa Fe 26 years, and in Mexico, we got to know stucco very well, of various sorts. This really, to me, it looks as if it's a degraded stucco. It's not, in my mind, a special stucco at all, because when the stucco degrades and degrades, it loses its full finish and becomes sparkly, because that should have been covered by the color. I mean, 26 years, and I was I'm still licensed with Sotheby's there. I've sold many historic large estates, and that was, when I see this, I immediately say, oh, sports stucco needs to be preserved. Not that it was, and then if you see the back, it's the same. And it has the same sparkle to it, which is a degraded form. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I've spent a lot of time with stucco. That's why we bought the house. It was stucco. I was like, oh, it just needs to be,
Stucco.
yeah, because it just, or covered. Tim and I bought a house, a property from what year was that? 1880,
One in Tesuque,
Yeah.
1890.
1890s pitched roof, adorable. And we painted the stucco. And that's also historically appropriate. That was also a historic house. People would drive by and just stop and stare at our house and like, we're like, no, we have to go. We have to get out. We have to get out. So I just wanted to give that input because I think there might be more than one way to look at that.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
certainly,
On the side, I just
Right.
think.
certainly as Stephanie said, the sparrow color is beautiful. So
Yeah, it's very warm.
we can't stop you from doing that. We just, like
With the
leading.
new, the slate
it's-
roof.
Sorry?
So it has a slate roof. So
Uh-huh.
that's why with the gray slate roof, which was original, has been fully replaced.
Yeah.
With that, with the sparrow and the rock work. Because to my mind, the rock work is so evocative of early Tuxedo Park. And then you have this Hollywood Regency fantasy moment abutting it. And I find it quite glaring.
See, I see this. I mean, it's your home, so these are just opinions that we're sharing with you. But but that's the thing. It's this what we call every meeting we talk about the tuxedo patina, and generally it is about the rocks and the walls that they're pillow cut. They're not all modern and clean cut. So this has a patina all its own, which is just. It'd be gone, and it would never, in my opinion, be as even though it may be, as you were absolutely right, and it's fascinating here. It could be compromised to stucco, but I don't think that it's. I mean, it looked in damn good condition because I think it's an absolute, 40s, 50s, whenever this was built, original, and it's lasted so well. I mean, it's not like the stucco in the Harling, the stucco in Scotland, which gets the humidity behind it, and then the Charles Rennie Mackintosh houses, they have to put the roof over it to dry it out. But I think the issues with the house were not from water seeping through there. It's from from the roof things and that. So that's the as I say. But if you did paint it sparrow, that's just replacing the gorgeous, fabulous pink color. What about the trim? That would.
We were thinking all one color,
Ooh.
everything, so that it would read as kind of a sculptural unit with the stonework. The idea is to get that stonework to feel like it's part of this house. Right now, I think they feel like two separate moments, and also to give the house more of a sculptural presence. So it feels like a complete unit. We have to confess we were inspired by Martha Stewart on this one, that we would go by her Bedford
She was
house
her
all of the
neighbor in
time.
Connecticut.
And so we appreciated the way in which, by not picking out the trim, which I sometimes find a little bit prissy, to be honest, and this house is a little prissy. I do understand that, but we thought it might read a little bit more sculptural because it does have such a strong form to it with that kind of Greek flat facade in the front, which we really like.
It's interesting to say that because, and Brian, I won't mind me quoting it, she's doing it. She's painting a whole house one uniform color. And, you know, and because she knows it's, you know, it's not a pretty house. So, you know, she's trying to hide it. So she doesn't want the trim, suburban white trim, because it's not a pretty house. This one has this most divine trim, and you don't, you know, so that would hide it. Like, oh, it's I see it as a folly, you know, it's this wonderful shrine that, you know, that we all worship, and then to make it, I mean, I'm very much into modern architecture as well.
We're not, I should just tell you, we're not opposed to pink.
No, no,
We were
we bought it.
prepared.
I
It was
also
pink.
have a pink house.
Really,
So I just love this shade too.
I grew up in a pink house, so
Ah,
we're
okay.
not opposed to
I mean,
pink.
it's, you know,
It was just, that was our thinking, was that the rock work seems, because it was earlier probably than the house itself. And they just
Feels
kind of read a little disconnected, and we love that rock work. We love that outdoor patio area. We love the house too, but we just thought maybe we could get this to work more as a unit. So that was our thinking.
Last comment on it, then we'll move on to the chimney. Christopher Boshiers again. He had a folly, beautiful house in Connecticut. It was pink, and he's always regretted painting it over, getting rid of the pink. But you'll meet Christopher. And
Yeah.
you'll firsthand. You'll
We've
have
been
it.
told that
think
he
we're
knows
meeting
everything
this
about
next
that.
Yes,
so-
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Rhina's doing her best to pitch us to the.
Right. yes, so hopefully you'll meet Christopher there, and he can hear from the horse's mouth. And, so as far as I would approve, you know, if you wanted to change it to Sparrow, but I'm
We really are listening. I mean, you know, I think we'll go back and we'll look at it again.
Okay.
And talk
Well, it
about it.
seems
I'm
fine,
curious
right?
about what you're saying about the stucco.
I'm
Oh.
also really interested in what you're saying. The interior stucco in the Vanderbilt place had that mica.
Oh.
And we have antiques that have mica in it.
Right.
To create this effect.
Right.
It's very interesting.
That's a Venetian blaster effect, often has
Mhm.
micaceous
Yes,
elements.
so we need to talk about
It's-
that and think about
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, I certainly need help with
We're open.
Yeah.
Thank you.
well, let's keep that open then, and then, you know,
Yeah.
and then the more important thing is that you probably want to move on is removing the smaller chimney. I didn't have a problem with that.
Yes,
No,
From
I
the
don't.
70s.
Yeah, that
Um,
can go.
And
No,
you're in
I think
this.
that will really clean up that side.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
and it's-
yeah.
In the boiler that they put in the 70s, we needed that. The new one, we're putting in new HVAC. And, the new one cannot use it because it fires so hot, I guess, and so efficiently that it can't get rid of the heat efficiently by having that, so it's not even.
Not even you,
It's
right.
functionally
It's not
obsolete,
used,
obsolete.
yeah.
It also
It's much
really
better.
affects the roof line,
Yeah.
in
Right.
a way that's not very pretty, as you come up to the house.
So what would the plan be? Where would it, you'd eliminate the
It's
whole
just gone.
thing?
So
or-
the whole
Completely
thing
gone.
would go, and then we would recreate that corner of the roof. And so now the roof line will be complete, and then we'll just run that trim all the way across into this addition. We're not going to change the footprint of the house. We are going to work with the size. We wanted a small house. And so we just kind of,
Okay.
we're trying to fix it so
Yeah.
that it doesn't leak.
So I think that's fine. And then the pergola, which is it the pergola at the back that?
There's actually, there's two sets of pergolas. There's one in the back that was added in the 70s, and that one's really like,
Falling apart.
yeah,
that's- you
on
probably
the
don't have
edge.
to do much.
No, that, we can push that over if you want it.
I'll go with below on it.
Yeah. And the ones in the front, from what we can tell by an early photograph that's in when the house was put into the National Register, it had different kind of trellis work there.
You're talking about these sort of like breeze blocks
Yeah,
things?
those are very 50s, at least in the States. Those are very 50s kind of addition. And then the top wood part has rotted because the wisteria just kind of went crazy. And the wisteria is just
It
bad
is.
news. I mean,
If you plant American wisteria, it's not as aggressive as the Chinese or Japanese.
Well, this one
exterior.
is crazy.
It's-
Yeah,
it's very
so,
s-
especially with stucco.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's already ground,
We
like, you know,
butchered it
3
like
feet, and we've like
two
cut
strip
that back.
before.
So,
It's
yeah.
big.
And it's getting into all the stonework and that and grapevines.
Oh, yeah.
And they put ivy and hydrangea vines. And it's just, yeah, trying to clean up the stonework has been a lot. Gonna feel it.
I love these cinder block things.
do?
Yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Well, my partner is from Venezuela, so, you know, the modern
okay.
sensibility is just like dreamy to me. What are your thoughts on the,
Are you taking those off as well, those blocks?
We'd like to remove these three, again, to show the sculpture of that kind of flat facade. And then also remove the pergola on the back, which I believe is
And
You know, I thought they were so cute, but it does, you know that they don't belong there,
Yeah.
right away,
it's
so.
very added. And the back one was an infraction, or I forget what John told us when we bought the house. It was like, what'd you call the back one?
Mistake.
a mistake.
That goes across the
You told
side?
me It was, yeah, you told me it was an infraction or a,
Well, because of the condition, it's ready to fall over, it's rotten.
we sort of run down there under it really quickly, so.
Yeah, don't stop.
so, do you think, I mean, removing, are
Is
you,
woodwork also, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
no, I'm just trying to understand.
I looked through all of it.
This
Okay.
also goes,
Just so you see the forms of its
Everything.
beautiful apertures.
Yeah.
so
so
there's
regular.
no, what is that? Is it the window trim? That, the thing above the window, that
Yeah.
overhang, that's
No,
gone,
there,
you also
the
taking that
stucco
away?
just goes, it has a reveal, probably see it, just the stucco goes right into the window.
Yeah, there isn't really an overhang on
There's
those
not
windows.
supposed,
No,
They just
that's
kind of
just
sit
bolted
back.
up above it.
right.
So you would remove the whole thing, side
Yeah.
and top, okay.
The architect, I mean, weather-wise, does that not protect the rain
Sadly, it's
penetrating?
the opposite, because the wisteria was holding the moisture, it
Mm.
was holding it in that wood above those windows, and that's why it's rotting. And so it's not a good thing, actually. It's a bad thing. And if you kept the trellises in some version or another, we wouldn't ever grow anything on them because the vines have been very destructive to the house. So kind of like, yeah.
You know,
they're
we want to
just
preserve the
there.
property.
I'm just wondering, I'm trying to imagine a sort of Photoshop it in my
No,
mind,
I
what it,
didn't realize that we were doing this right now. Is that in the application, the removal of these ones? I
Yeah,
just thought
it's
it was.
fine.
I think it's called pergolas.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
written.
no,
My writing is
I'm
so bad
sorry,
now.
It was written
I
here.
I
Second
just
one.
believed it was on this, so I didn't actually look
Oh, you
at
can
the
think about it.
great detail of this.
without that, with the, you know, the building, it seems to me the building loses a lot of the architectural splendor from this, you know, that it'll be no longer the cover of a magazine if without that.
Well, I
You've got
think
an
we're
art
all in
historian,
the
you have
business
a
of
doctorate in art
aesthetics.
history,
We
watch
we
out.
probably have different opinions on this. I personally see it a little differently. I think in one color, without those kind of what I call these additions from the 50s, I think it's going to read as a really strong sculptural form. I think you'll really get to see the shape of that. You'll get to understand the temple-like quality of it. And also it accents the flatness of it, which is what I really appreciate about it. It's got kind of a, as Jeff said, you know, Hollywood Regency flatness to it, which is what we're trying to play up. And I think what's happened over time is that somebody came in and thought, vines and pergolas, let's make this kind of a romantic fantasy of a different sort. I think it's really meant to be a more severe house, something that's like a little bolder.
Drawing at all? Is there any drawing of how it was?
All we've seen is this 1939 photo that was put into the National Registry.
Well, that wasn't.
Well, it wasn't
The late
39.
one.
it was-
1977
Oh,
photo.
yeah,
All
sorry.
we've seen is the 1977. And we've gone to
Far
the
back as
historic
we can go.
room, we found very little on the house, which it's so interesting because people seem to have an eye on it, like it's interesting in the park, and yet there's very like this former home is fascinating, Tanglewood and what up with that and why was the, and it's on the, kind of looks like the same footprint, but maybe just double thick or triple thick.
Mm.
So, yeah, we have no,
The other thing I noticed when I
That's why we
was
don't have
sweeping and cleaning is that the stairs, the one little step that's outside of those windows that open, have holes in them where I think that when the screen doors would have opened, they would have locked into place. You know, that would have been typical. That can't happen with these trellises on it, because they're in the way, basically. And so I think it is a later addition.
Right, no, I think you're absolutely right. It's just that what you're proposing is kind of what, you know, if you're building something new, that's exactly what one would do. And this has this layers of ages of frou-frou, if you want, added to it. But, you know, the end package is just like so scrumptious. But
scrumptious.
You know, the historic fabric of the building.
We like
argument.
the
I left some
romanticizing
old
that they
chewing
did.
gum in my other building because it was part of the school. It was underneath one of the stair rails. I
is
just
so
left one.
so,
So there is an argument for historic fabric of the building where additions and, you know, slight design changes are part of the history, but it's, I mean, are we allowed to think about it more? We allowed to?
well,
Because it's such an important thing.
that was the
Could
original
we
house.
research it a bit more to see whether there was something else that was replaced with those blocks?
Yeah, if you could help us,
allow that
is
without-
there?
Well, certainly Christopher
other
Boshiers, I mean,
resources?
Christopher Boshiers, he'll have very clear ideas and knowledge about it, about what it was, because he
Right.
knew the previous occupants very well.
Okay.
And he's like us, he's in love with the house, so he's always upset he wanted to buy it as well, and blah blah. So yeah, so he has, and he's, you know, he's very serious about these things, so he'll have some great feedback to share with you. So I think what we should do is we can certainly vote on saying remove the smaller chimney, so that can, you know, the bricks
The
and mortar.
actual constru-
And
yeah.
then the rest, you know, just, you know, you can mull around and then come back and say, no, it's exactly what we wanted. We knew all along, we know what we want, and, you know, it's, yeah, we'd approve it, I'm sure.
But there would be no problems, and I don't think that this is something that is of interest to you all, but, you know, if we just cut the wisteria, that,
Oh, my God.
okay.
It
No,
has
I-
to go
yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, because.
yeah, no.
That's
It's so
emergency.
aggressive.
Send an ambulance. I mean, they are so
I
bad.
don't know how we're gonna get it out.
Well, and
Just, and I think the back pergola was, the back sort of thing you walk under. I don't, you can see it in this
I
picture
couldn't
here.
tell what it.
Yeah, it's
And it
like a
goes
little
across the
walk
back.
through
Right,
the back
along the back,
door.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
is, coming, it is literally, I think
Yeah,
we should.
yeah, no, that's a
Yeah.
liability, yeah,
it's
that's.
a,
And that was
Violation, that was the
wisteria
word John
too.
used, violation.
I have a
this-
burglar
this
on mine,
is-
and it was, the post was there, and
this
it's,
is
the
not
burglars
wisteria.
pulled it like a foot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
Serious pulled it.
that's.
Because there's
It's
a
tough.
nesting robin in there.
Is this the climbing hydrangea?
Climbing hydrangea.
Right.
We like the climbing hydrangea. We'd like to trim it. We've already trimmed it, but we'd like to trim it more. But that's the one that we do like. It's less aggressive than the others, like the grape and the wisteria.
You know, I'm just concerned about that bird. I mean, I'm sure they hatch, they probably, they hatch, they're
Oh,
just,
it's so sweet.
you know.
Well, I'm not going to tell you about the frogs then, because there's like 20 of them in these ponds.
Which
I
will we
keep
house
saving
here
them.
Because they're gonna have to drain those they have to be redone.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go to Mr. Whittle's pond, I guess, just,
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Does he have a pond?
yeah, just, you can't see it, but just within 15 feet from your property edge, he has a big pond, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And so, well, I get his permission first, because, yeah, I wouldn't, but,
I'll
sorry.
ask Judy. She wants a frog.
Oh, well, if you do, yeah, I'm sure there'd be, and so, yeah, as far as sort of getting back to wisteria, there's certain invasive species that there's only one way of getting rid of it, unfortunately, that's using herbicides. We don't like to use that. We try and avoid it, but sometimes it's like chemotherapy. Sometimes you have to bring the big guns out. So, if you really want to get rid of it, you know, with a licensed herbicide, but, or you just paint it, there's no broadcast spraying or something, that would deal with it. Otherwise, it's going to be a month of Sundays, it's going to keep on coming back. But as long as, and the other landscaping issues, like, with your lawn, the Tuxedo patina isn't a nice green lawn like the Queen of England's lawn. It's, with moss, and it's with clover, and it's biodiverse, and it's not pumped with fertilizers and things like that. We have a responsibility being on the watershed to protect it. So, and then trees as well, the understory, not having a landscaper. So I'll just clean it up, and then he just gets rid of all the understory under the trees. There's wintergreen, there's the fungi there at all, and the leaf litter feeds the trees. So it's, obviously nearer the house, more immaculate, but around it, to respect Mother Nature is what we're all about. It's so if there are any comments from the room or from Zoom, I think we could. Well, it's so important, I think, for first time for home buyers to come to a bar meeting, even if it's not related to them, to see what the process is, because we're here to help. We're not here to.
And he's right there. Yeah.
Yes, Rob. You'll meet Rob and Will as well. I think they were
Are they
invited to
below
Brian.
us?
They're in the ivy covered house on the poor estate.
So gorgeous.
Right below is
Rob is
Adam
fabulous.
and
This one
Kimberly.
is so beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
The ballroom.
We like that house.
They put a pool in, I think.
And his
No.
house is
No, it's
The
the one.
ballroom
we
is
like.
Jack Kilgore, but it's and then that has that pool that's there. Then there's the next one is the Kamek house. It's the Tuckerman Four.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
where
the
Dorothy
stone
Draper's
one.
parents.
Stone.
That was the
Yeah.
fourth house. Then it's the poorhouse. Then it's Christopher Bouchier's. It's a nasty little ranch, sort of mid-century house that he purchased and made it divine.
The one
You
that's
mean
right
on
on the
Street
road.
Lookout?
Sorry,
On Lookout or on Circuit?
on circuit.
Circuit.
On circuit.
That's the one that you like.
Kind of wraps
Quiet.
around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yes.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
wasn't.
he's there. I thought he
Mm.
was on Lookout, the 60s house
There's
down
a
below him.
60s, 70s house.
Then there's Maureen Love in the carriage house of the poor estate.
Yes.
And then is the next one is Rob and Will, and they have come to an agreement with Maureen Love too, and they've had a 100-year lease on all her properties, so they've created food. It's marvelous. Yeah, what they've
That's the
done.
house that we admire all the time.
With the ivy.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a heart stopper.
So
Yeah.
Rob McQuilkin should normally be here, but unfortunately his father is dying, and so he's at the hospice. And because he would have had many wonderful comments, but
Yeah.
so he'll be able to share them with you as well, because he obviously loves it as well. So yeah.
I had no idea so many people
Yeah,
this
we just
house
figured
as
it was
much as they
hidden.
did. It's
Oh, it's so special.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
too bad that they didn't keep the roof up. It's really a mess.
Yeah, no, it's well, I'm glad you guys saved it.
It's
We're
Yeah.
very appreciative to
Yeah.
We
you.
love being here, so.
Yeah.
Play well and get this done.
And
So
you
we-
film on-
We should vote on this.
Yes, so we can vote on.
And what about the roof? We need to vote on pergola or not?
Or the rear.
Oh,
pergola.
and
Oh, we
the-
can-
the
yeah.
rear
No,
part.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, for you to munch that, that idea around, and as I say, you've made a good case for it to be removed, so I don't think there would be a problem. It's just, what did the tailor say? Measure twice and cut once. So, once it's gone, it's gone.
I mean, if somebody bought it from us in 40 years.
Right, certainly, but I think, to do a Photoshop thing of seeing what it does look like without it may help as
Yeah,
well.
it would be interesting.
That's pretty easy to do. So I'd like to make a proposal for the Harricle residents at 72 Lookout Road to remove the smaller chimney on the north east side of the house completely, and the trim will be reconstituted to run and match with the previous ones on either side, and to remove the rear north facing side house of the pergola. do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Approved.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you so
watch out
much.
for the robin.
Great.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
So much.
You're
So much
welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Do we have,
I
Desiree,
know,
do we have any
seriously.
minutes to approve? or-
Yes, actually, we have several.
You're on mute,
Uh,
Desiree.
Oh, I am?
Now you're
Am I?
okay.
Oh, okay. We have several minutes that are still outstanding. I'll read them out to you.
And so I'm deficit.
March 4th.
So one second, Desiree.
Okay,
Have you read all the recent minutes?
These go back as far as March.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read them and comfortable with them all. I don't think, why we didn't approve them, but,
There were some that I missed, for, but I've read the ones that I've attended.
Okay. Oh, that's
And
cool.
I'm comfortable with them.
let's check.
Can you read that? Can you read?
Stephanie.
We had a 17.
The minutes, are you comfortable with the minutes?
Yes, I read them. and I
Okay,
liked
great.
them, and I
Yes.
approved them.
okay,
Okay, yes, Desiree, we're comfortable to. approve.
okay. I'll just read them out loud just for the records so that we have that. So March 4th,
March
Not
4th,
approved them yet.
April 15th, and June 3rd
like to make a motion.
for
to-
2024. So,
To approve the minutes of March 4, April 15th, and June 3.
yes.
Second, all in favor? Minutes are approved. Thank you, Desiree.
You're very welcome.
And I don't think there are any other issues outstanding, so I'd like to make a motion to at 6:40 to close the meeting. All in favor?
Okay,
Meeting closed.
Thank you, Desiree.
you're welcome.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.